What's up, Godzilla fans? Today I'm doing the 25th Godzilla Dissection episode, and I'm covering the 17th film in the Godzilla franchise and the second in the Heisei series. Enough beating on the bush, Godzilla vs. Biollante, or someone recently noted my videos I say by the Japanese name, so if going by American, I guess you could say Biollante, but I prefer Biollante, it sounds better. In any case, Godzilla's Biollante was the last of the Heisei movies for me to watch, which filled in several gaps for me that before I didn't understand. And yeah, it's a very, very freaking good Godzilla movie. And I should say, in the history of this movie, it was the lowest performing, at least box office wise, of all the Heisei movies. After this movie, they would never again, uh, you know, perform below Toho's expectations to make money, which is why they kept making more Heisei movies until finally Toho decided to give Godzilla over to the Americans, which led to Godzilla in 1998. But in any case, I'm very glad to say this movie is finally getting its due, because just a few years ago, it was a very hard film to acquire in America. In fact, my very first copy of it was a Toho DVD-R copy, basically meaning a bootleg of the Japanese DVD. And that's because at the time there was no official release from any company of Godzilla Biollante on DVD or Blu-ray. Unlike basically any other Godzilla movie except for a few at the time, like Return of Godzilla, which also, and I think to this day, basically still unavailable on any American DVD release for that matter. But Godzilla vs. Biollante has finally gotten an official release in America. I forget which company specifically, but I'm pretty sure it was not Sony, although it might have been. Although I highly doubt it because of the quality of the DVD. But not only is it on DVD, Godzilla Biollante is actually on Blu-ray now. I believe it was the first of the Godzilla movies to be on Blu-ray here in America. And not only is it on Blu-ray, it's on a high quality Blu-ray. That means not only does it have an actual menu, but it also means that it has special features, trailers, English and Japanese audio options. Something that most Godzilla Blu-rays are definitely lacking, because we all know that Sony just recently released Godzilla Blu-rays. However, the quality of them varies. I think Godzilla 2000 is a pretty high quality Blu-ray, but however, things like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 and Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, while they are on Blu-ray, yeah, the only thing you're getting is a higher quality look to the film, a higher quality sound, and of course the Japanese audio option finally. But bunch of features wise, you don't get much other than trailers. So the fact that Godzilla Biollante got the special DVD release and Blu-ray release makes me very happy that the film is finally getting its due over shores and the Godzilla fan community in general. People are finally seeing how good this movie is, and that makes me as a fan very freaking happy, because this movie deserves so much better for quite some time. It's one of the best Godzilla movies, honestly, and for many, many, many reasons. So with all that said, let's get to it. Uh, Godzilla Biollante is a close contender for my second favorite Heisei Godzilla film. And I say this, it even surpasses Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the 1993 version I'm referring to. Number one will always go to Godzilla vs. Destroyer for me, but yeah, this film was just, I first finally saw it a few years back, it really blew my mind. And mind you, I didn't see this movie as a kid, unlike a lot of the other Heisei movies. I saw it as a young adult. So watching it, I didn't have the childlike aura going into it, although I pretty much always do watch these movies, honestly, but this time I got to watch it as a young adult, already having seen, 20 other plus Godzilla movies. And the fact that it still surprised me in a lot of ways and really made me think, really talks about the quality of the movie. So first I'd like to commend Kazuki Amori for his directing and marvelous screenplay. Let's be clear here, he didn't write the original story. This story is the result of a story contest, which, as fate would have it, is the same way Terror of Mechagodzilla was also born. And just like Terror of Mechagodzilla, this movie was the lowest grossing of its era. Coincidence? I think not. And just like Terror of Mechagodzilla, this movie has a very different story than a lot of the movies that came out before it, and in a way, a lot of it come out after it. And that just goes to show how creative, the common person can be. I mean, I believe this film itself was written by a dentist. Well, at least the original story. Of course, Kosuke Mori would tweak the story to his needs and make it into the screenplay version, but the basic elements still remain. Entwined with the usual pseudoscience, there's a great espionage aspect to it all. And I like that quite a bit. I like it quite a bit. It made it very interesting. Like I said before in our early Godzilla section, this is one of the few Godzilla movies that touches on the idea of terrorists being involved in this story. Although the idea of terrorists not specifically, it's not something that's one of the high themes, but it's there, which makes it very interesting. We didn't resort to aliens or people from the future to make the story happen. It involved, for the most part, real life elements, which I did appreciate so freaking much. And another good thing about this movie has some great characters in it. I know some people, I've read the reviews and people have said, oh, it feels kind of stale, but to me, it's just the difference between American cinema and Japanese cinema. This film doesn't have the American overdone acting to make it work. And when I say that, I don't mean all American cinema. Of course, I don't mean that. I mean in the realm of science fiction and action movies, usually with very few movies that get away with it. Most of the time, we rely on having a lot of humor in our movies, along with the action, to really make them work. And to really showcase this, I can name several. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Transformers series. No matter how bad you say Transformers is, it succeeds so well because it does that. And they've really reaped the benefits. Movies have been going on, another a fifth film coming out soon, and they've reaped billions of dollars. And of course, the Avengers franchise, especially showcased in Avengers Age of Ultron, comedy and action apparently go well together, and people love to eat it up. And you only see 2 inches of it here, although there are subtle nods to it. And the comedy there is works, and I appreciate it. But mostly it's very seriously toned, and it's a lot of drama involved between all the characters. And it's very well done to me. The only thing I could critique with the human characters to me, pretty much just the fact that when a military character is killed, I want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it because I still want people to really watch this movie. That when a certain character dies, there's not enough attention given to his death. It just kind of like brushed aside. Okay, he's dead, but Godzilla's still alive. We focus on this now. But it's not enough to really distract me because so much still goes on afterwards. And I guess the main point of the story is to focus on another character's death that happens later on. And, that gets a lot of attention. So, yeah, the human characters to me are done very well in this movie, and the human emotion in this story is a very integral part of the movie, actually. The relationship of Shiragami, played by Koji Takahashi, is the most beautiful and twisted character in the whole freaking movie. And I cannot refer to him without bringing up his daughter/creation, Biollante, the central monster in the movie, besides Godzilla, of course. The human aspect to it that some may not get is that Shiragami obviously injected some of his deceased daughter's blood, or simply a few cells, into the roses, which is why he cares so deeply about them. He did this to sort of preserve the essence of his daughter, and I guess if you want to get mythical about it, preserve her soul. Which is why when Miki Sagusa first visits, she can hear the rose calling to her, and later on this applies to Godzilla as well. When the earthquake hits later on in the story, the roses are damaged and on the verge of death. So in order to preserve her soul, Shiragami uses the Godzilla cells to give her new life and more stronger, solidified life. A lot of people say the story is convoluted, but it just needs a little digging into, which I didn't mind doing at all. I mean, I never mind doing that for a movie. And it made it very interesting. Speaking of convoluted stories, of all the monsters I've seen in these films, and I speak of all Toho films in general, Biollante has one of the most original and, frankly, quite awesome origin stories ever. It's not a simple mishap with some chemicals or dimensions, some like Space Godzilla, where the origin story is written off in a single sentence, and the characters themselves not even sure what happened. Biollante is an aggregation of Godzilla and